On today's DCU Daily, so Robert Pattinson has been unofficially offered a role in Dune Part 3 by Denis Villeneuve. So all of a sudden it erupted on Twitter, all over social media. Oh my God, the Batman 2 is definitely not happening. We will discuss that today. We will also discuss Rachel Brosnahan, who's playing Lois Lane in James Gunn's Superman. I'm going to read out a very interesting quote from Rachel, whose conduct thus far, when she's talking about this role in this movie, has been so eloquent. Rachel Zegler, you really should be taking notes on this glorious lady. We will also be discussing the fact that the Gunn bros, the James Gunn fans, are catching a lot of heat. And also, James Gunn launched a mini video of a little interview discussion he was having with Jim Lee. You'll see the whole thing on Superman Day. It looks like from Superman Day, April the 18th. The real press and marketing for Superman is really going to kick into touch. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60 Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Wednesday's edition of the DCU Daily. Disclaimer, as you can see, I don't use a good camera. I don't use a good microphone. I don't edit stupid little clips from movies, or anything like that. So I'm not very professional, which means YouTube and Instagram don't push me up the algorithm. You can help that. If you appreciate me, if you like what I do here on a daily basis, because I do believe I provide the best service from any DC content creator. I give you the information and I give you my honest views. I will never lie to you about our beloved DC. And if you want to follow this, we've been on this Superman journey thus far for the past 2 years together, and we will continue to be doing that. So, look, because I don't use the best equipment, I'm not going to be in the algorithm, but you can help that. So, first of all, let's talk about Robert Pattinson. There's been this really big power struggle at DC Studios between James Gunn and Matt Reeves, because James Gunn came into the DC town and saw that there's a pre-existing Batman universe. The Batman did so well. If it wasn't for COVID, the Batman would have probably cleared $1 billion. Some people don't want to hear that, but it's true. And 770 million global box office isn't a flop. I'm sorry, Snyder fans, that's a fact. Anyway, moving on. There's been this power struggle because obviously James Gunn wants his own Batman in his own universe. He announced Brave and the Bold, which seems to be taking a snail's pace in development. He's got a secret writer writing it, but who is it? Why would he keep the writer a secret? It's not Joss Whedon, is it? Or is it Ben Affleck? Well, according to Ben, he's not interested, but who knows what's going on behind the scenes. So there's been this power struggle, right? That's the facts, between Matt Reeves and James Gunn. What does James Gunn want? James Gunn wanted Matt Reeves' universe to be part of the DCU. Now, publicly, Matt said a few weeks ago, it has to make sense for my Batman to be part of the DCU. So he's not totally opposed for it. So I think they've had negotiations. It's my belief that Robert Pattinson isn't interested in being part of the DCU. He's been part of a franchise, it blighted his early career. He's not interested in doing it again. And just look at the directors he's associating himself with as well. So he's had an unofficial offer to be part of Dune Part 3, which would start shooting this summer. Now, apparently, if you believe everything that you hear, the Batman 2 will start shooting in October, November, December, at the back end of this year. So can an actor shoot a movie in the summer, then go and shoot a movie at the end of the year? Absolutely. The average time to shoot a movie these days is 3 to 4 months. Now, in the good old days, it used to take about 6 months to 1 year. So it wouldn't be as possible for someone like Robert Pattinson to make 2 movies back to back. But first of all, we don't know how big or small this role is on Dune Part 3. So it could be a minimal amount of shooting time. He may be in the movie front and centre, which I doubt. But even if he is, he's going to be there for 3 or 4 months, right? In the summer, and then at the back end of the year, he can do the Batman 2. So people saying because he's been offered this role that the Batman 2 isn't happening are talking out of their backsides. But it is interesting, everyone, considering Colin Farrell is meant to be playing, if you believe everything that you read online, hasn't been confirmed by James Gunn, I don't think, but he's playing Sergeant Rock. Now, I don't know when they're shooting that movie. Are they shooting that movie this year or next year? If it's this year, well, basically, Colin is supposed to be playing a minimal part of the Batman Part 2, because a lot of that story was used in the Penguin streaming show. We've got to keep these streaming services hobbling on, don't we now? Anyway, so there's that as well. Listen, there's something weird going on with the Batman 2. You'd have to be the biggest denier in history not to accept that, right? That there's something not quite right. It's taken a long time. Matt Reeves takes his time with his scripts, but we've had one shoot date, then they delayed the shoot dates. It's been a very weird situation. I don't know. That's the honest truth. As I say, I'm honest here. I don't lie. I don't know if the Batman 2 is happening or isn't happening. What I believe, from what I've been told, is if Superman fails, there's a clearer road for the Batman 2. That's a controversial take, but I believe that's the situation. But I do not believe that let me say that again. I don't believe Robert Pattinson shooting a movie in the summer stops him from shooting a movie at the back end of this year. So we will wait and see. Now I want to read a quote from Rachel Brosnahan, who's playing Lois Lane. Amy Adams was a great Lois Lane. Margot Kidder was a great Lois Lane. There's never been a bad Lois Lane. I prefer some of them to the others. Now, Bitsy Tulloch's probably my least favourite Lois Lane. I think she did a great job. She's a great actress. But in real life, some of the crap she says I don't like. And I think she's a bit too gobby for her own good. And I think that her Lois Lane, in certain aspects, is very, very current day. But anyway, let's read what Rachel had to say. Rachel is a very good actor. By the way, this was great casting by James Gunn, whether you like the guy or are going to boycott this movie or whatever side of the fence you are on. So, how intimidating was it to follow in the footsteps of all the great actors who have played Lois Lane? Laughs. You did very conveniently walk right into that one. Intimidating a little, but intimidating might be the wrong word. I was really inspired by how many different versions of this character have existed, and it feels true to the comics to have different on-screen interpretations. Lois has maybe changed more than any other character in the history of the comics. The way she looks, what she prioritizes, from version to version. There's also tons of different versions of her backstory. She became Superwoman, sometimes the Red Tornado, another character she's been, and that's true, isn't it? I was most familiar with Margot Kidder's Lois Lane. I grew up completely obsessed with the Christopher Reeve Margot Kidder, as was I. Superman films, but I also love Amy Adams. I've had a chance to run into her a couple of times since taking the mantle. So I know we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and hopefully we can make the fans happy. And this is the kind of way that Rachel Brosnahan has conducted herself. Now, it's very interesting. There are a few actresses up for this role who are very gobby, very Rachel Zegler-like. And James Gunn basically didn't give them the job because of the way he knew they would be talking publicly, because there's no stopping these people talking on their own platforms. They talk too much for their own goods. They lack intelligence. Look at what Rachel's done to her career, because she doesn't know when to press the brakes on what she's saying. But anyway, Rachel is a pro, she's a brilliant actor, and I believe she's going to be a great Lois Lane. And it's great that she loves Margot Kidder's version, because Margot's version and Erica Durance's version on Smallville are my equally favourite Lois Lanes. So it's great to see Rachel's professionalism there. Now let's move on and talk about the Gunn Bros. That's their nickname. That's the nickname of the James Gunn fandom. So they're catching some heat from a lot of people around saying, because what's happening is every time a YouTuber criticizes James Gunn constructively, or the preview we saw the other day constructively, basically the Gunn Bros are jumping on them. Now, this is something we see in every single fandom. Let's be honest. There are some Snyder fans who jump on you if you criticize their boy. Now, I love Zack Snyder. I love his DC movies. I think he's a brilliant modern day director, and I think he's going to be more appreciated in 50 years than most of these modern day directors. But I've also constructively criticized him. I said a Justice League movie wasn't a place for a Superman rebirth story. I believe that I, as a Superman fan, I deserve to see more of Superman than I did in a Justice League movie. But of course, there was going to be another 2 movies before that was cut short, to be fair to Zack. So I constructively criticise everyone, including James Gunn. And what's going on is these Gunn Bros are now bullying and jumping on people who constructively criticise James. I haven't really caught much flack. I did have a little argument a while back with the Truth 31, right? And I just muted him on X Twitter because at the end of the day, I've spoken about people who lack objectivity. But it's very interesting that, as a lot of people are saying, they have become the very thing that they were fighting. Here's the thing. You know, all fandoms have this kind of echo chamber kind of environment and atmosphere about them. I've been part of fandoms like that. In my younger days, I had no objectivity, and now my eyes have opened, right? Defending producers, directors, actors, there's no point. They're rich people, they don't care about you. Stop wasting your life acting this way. But whatever your opinion can be. Why don't we just try being better to each other? Now, finally today, we got a very exciting video from James Gunn on all his social media platforms. It was a snippet of him interviewing Jim Lee. Who doesn't love Jim Lee? They're wheeling him out because really he is the Stan Lee of DC. Yeah, he didn't create DC like Stan did. But when you think about DC, you think about artist, iconic, legendary artist, Jim Lee. And on Superman Day, this interview that James teased is coming out. Now, they've also got this big thing by the Superman logo saying, let's celebrate Superman together on April the 18th on Superman Day. And, look up on July the 11th and go to cinemas and watch Superman. So it's obvious to me that we are going to get a big main Superman trailer on April the 18th. Hopefully. But it looks like on Superman Day, they are going big. And I couldn't be more excited as a Superman fan. There's lots of discussions right now. Who's a real Superman fan and who isn't? As I keep on saying, no one has the right to invalidate your fandom. If you love one thing from this universe, whether it's Snyder, Gunn, whatever, right, it doesn't matter. You are a fan. It's not for me to tell you who's a fan and who's not. Basically, you decide if you're a DC fan or not, right? And I know that every single person that I talk to is a DC fan, no matter what your opinions are. No one gets to tell you if you're a DC fan or not. Snyder fans are DC fans. They like a portion of the DC fandom. That makes them DC fans, right? I mean, it's very interesting. I did read a brilliant analogy about a sandwich shop not selling the sandwich that you like. This was a Snyder fan, and it was quite funny. I do love a good analogy. I think, and this is the mistake with the power struggle with the Batman universe from Matt Reeves, that Gunn and Reeves are having right now. They came out of one franchise and went into another. It's like splitting up with a problematic partner and getting another girlfriend or boyfriend straight away. Instead of doing that, they should have just made films, right? So Matt Reeves, as I keep on saying, Matt Reeves should have cooked in his corner. Zack should have continued to cook in his corner. James could have done his Suicide Squad universe. Everyone could have had a fair portion of the DC universe. That is what I wanted to see. I don't know. And this is interesting because when everyone is asked, or asks me, is Superman going to be a great movie? Is it going to be successful? And I think we're in a position right now, we're so confused about this film. We don't know what to think. Nobody knows if this film's going to be successful. I've spoken to analysts who are not sure how good or badly in the global box office this film is actually going to do.